One bad note at the end there. All right. Well, hey, that's performance, okay? And now we're going to go through this step by step. This is Etude number 2, sticking in the position now, based around, let me turn the gain down a little bit, based around the 7th fret down to the 4th fret. We're in B, okay? That's all sort of a, it's just a 12-bar blues, this time a little more funk style. And then up here, okay, and that's just same chord there, okay, if you don't know that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, here's our root 3rd, 5th, root 3rd, 5th. That's where we're going to be basing everything around, okay? And we're going to take a look at this lick by lick. But first of all, please give us the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, so that you'll be sure to come back and catch the other etudes as they come along, and we're going to have a lot more stuff coming up. We're going to have some stuff for beginners, a couple more reviews. It's going to be some more things coming in the cold weather when we got time to make these videos. All right, so jumping right in. We're in B. You'd expect some major pentatonic kind of stuff, or minor pentatonic stuff. But in fact, the first 2 notes are coming from what I would like to call an idiom, and there's going to be a lot of idiomatic phrase kind of stuff in this etude. I will kind of try to put the focus on that here. And it's a surround. Basically, we're taking one of the notes, we're surrounding that 3rd with the notes below and above it. In themselves, they would sound a little bit outside over this sort of rather major sounding blues. They would sound minor in a way. But since you're getting right to that 3rd pretty quickly, and then up 5th, 6th root, it makes a cool phrase to start off. Okay, and then just a bend from the 2nd up to the 3rd, and then using the 6th again to the root. Okay, very typical blues phrase. Okay, and now starts the big tumble down to get to the... Okay, and we're going to wind up at our second important idiom here. And this really is taking now from the minor pentatonic. Okay, we're kind of borrowing from that. And we're going to do this walk up at the end. Okay, we're starting at the 7th of our 1 chord, going down to the 5th, walking up through the flat 6th, and landing on the 6th, which at the change of the bar becomes the 3rd. Okay, you'll see it right in that shape there. Okay, so the mutation of the 6th into the 3rd, and that half step motion down disguised by a little walk up is a very important blues and jazz idiom. Okay, and getting a little bend there to enhance the bluesiness. All right, and then next up comes a sort of like little featured arpeggio. Okay, and that's very influenced by Wes Montgomery, I have to say, because Wes is everything. Okay, that would be bring us back to the 1 chord there, which we've got to get back to now because we got 2 bars of E, E7, and then we got to get back to the B7. And instead of ending it on a like that, get down to that stinky 6th down there. That's kind of a cooler way to end the line. So the whole thing is just an arpeggio. The pickup notes, the 6th and the root, and then... Okay, and that is a major idiom alert, okay? So... Okay, that's one of the more famous horn lines and guitar lines. B.B. King loves that one, and on and on and on. All right, so okay, and this part here is just going down in the thirds that fit over the chord. All right, and it works because Wes Montgomery says it works, and whatever he says works, works. Okay. Okay, I like to try to hold the pick back at an angle like this to get those nice and smooth. All right, that's a tough lick, takes a little bit of practicing. Start it slow and work it up to speed. Yeah, to get in a little bit of that A in there. Okay, kind of play the line between the 3rd and the 4th there. I don't know what made me do that one, but it just kind of fell out, and that one gives a nice little stab of tension in there. Okay, now we've got an important part in the progression where we go from the 5 chord to the 4 chord and down to the 1 chord, and it's really cool to be able to navigate that change properly. Okay, and in this case, first time through, take a little breath. Don't play anything on the first beat. 1. 1. Okay, so we're hinting a little bit. And that's actually, the accent should be 1. And a little pull on that minor 3rd up to the major 3rd at the end, all right? So that takes us a walk right through the 5 chord, and then 4 chord. Okay, that all that's based around here. Okay, all based around that. Okay. Okay, and that's back to our 1 chord, of course. And then comes the turnaround. All right, and we can take these. Anytime you got a 9th chord like that, you can get that color of the flat 9 in by using one of these cool movable diminished scales. Okay, so I'm going to grab this part here and create sort of a little internal resolution there, and then we jump on the hay wagon, starting back at the 1 chord. Okay, back to some of my chicken picking. Picking with these 2 fingers. Here again. Snapping the string, okay? And these are, again, based a little bit on the minor blues. All right, and I'm getting that bend in there to the major. All right, bending that up. Now comes the part where we're going to take another scale, not the minor pentatonic, not the major pentatonic, but the half-step, whole-step diminished scale. Now, if you caught the single position solo etudes part 1, I went through that a little bit, and here we'll talk about it again. This time, just I won't go through how it's built up. That's in the PDF, all right? But okay, we're starting off really pretty much diatonic on this run. Okay, now comes the. Okay, we've got two notes that wind up in there, the flat 9 and the sharp 11 that wind up being outside, and I avoided them down low and let the line build up and then move through those briefly before getting to. Okay, before getting to our 4 chord. Okay, and that's where I'm taking those two little dyads for the 4 chord from this shape and from this shape, okay? So the whole run. Okay, and then down through D. There's that idiom again. We'll do it on the 1 chord too, and it's a little premature. Okay. And some stinky Frank Zappa notes on there with little pinch harmonics and dirt at the bottom. Okay. So that coming down again. And a little chicken picking again. Okay, now we're back to the next spot where we got to go 5, 4, 1, and this time it's pickup note time. Excuse my breaking up voice. Almost. Okay, that's just purely lick based on the F sharp dominant arpeggio. Okay. With the inclusion of the 4th. All right. Okay. And then. All right, that one gets right here, all in that shape. And then back to the 1. Okay, and so we're resolving, of course, back to the 1 at the end here. You know, if you were using this as part of a solo in a song or something, you'd be off to the next thing now. But this last run here is also pure, now F sharp. Okay, based off the F sharp, based off the F sharp coming down the half whole diminished scale. Okay, and the whole thing would really. Okay, that'd be your whole big long scale there. And instead of playing it just straight up scale, you know, there's a little bit of contour. Okay, and that all winds up resolving to B perfectly, of course, all right? So we got those two motions. We got the one time where we use the 1 chord and start treating it as a dominant 7th, and then treat it with the half step, whole step to get to the 4, because that 1 to 4 motion is really turned on its head. It's a 5-1, okay? And then at the end, the 5-1. Okay, also works perfectly with that harmonic minor, half step, whole step diminished scale. I keep wanting to say harmonic minor. Okay, went on a little bit long there. My voice is not in shape for that. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching, and please remember, thumbs up for us and subscribe, and we'll be back with more stuff. I hope this kind of lesson is interesting to you, and you can work some of these licks and ideas into your own solos and have some fun. See you next time. Thanks for tuning in.